Welcome to episode 15 of The Week in Gear, a show in which I rank the most exciting guitar gear released in the last 7 days, all the way up to my pick of the week. So, if you're a gear addict, make sure to hit that subscribe button and prepare to get gas. This week, there was a huge surprise release from Fender that absolutely no one knew was coming. Marshall also went back to their roots, and Electro Harmonix shrunk one of their best pedals, but are charging more for it. We'll get into that in a moment after a word from this week's sponsor, Pedaltrain. I know you don't want to carry pedals to practice in a plastic bag. I know how frustrating it is to miss that solo boost because your pedals are all trying to escape. So you should check out what Pedaltrain have to offer to keep those naughty pedals nailed down. From the ultra-compact Nanos to the city-sized Terra 42s, Pedaltrain have a board for you. Check them out at the link below. Okay, let's kick off this week's most exciting gear releases with something from Chase Bliss and Empress Effects. The Reverse Mode C is a spacey, blippy, bloopy, bloppy echo pedal based on one of the modes of the Empress Effects Super Delay. Chase Bliss have expanded on that one mode by adding lots of dip switches and knobs to make that bloopy echo even more, well, bloopy, with a hint blippy. It has modulation, a built-in sequencer, 3 different echo voices, MIDI, CV, and expression control. Being Chase Bliss, this is far from your meat and potatoes delay pedal. And what's particularly interesting is that the Reverse Mode C is limited edition, but limited in terms of time rather than number of pedals available. Instead of building only 1,000 of these pedals and limiting it that way, Chase Bliss are building as many as we want, but we must order them before August 31st. Then expect the pedal to be delivered in about 4 months because they're made to order. And if demand for more is high enough, they will make more small batches in the future. Now, this could be a clever attempt to stop scalpers buying up pedals and then reselling them on Reverb, or just another way to create more fear of missing out on buying a new pedal. Either way, if you enjoy making reverse, spacey, blippy, bloopy sounds, this pedal could be for you, at the price of $399 American dollars direct from Chase Bliss. Link in the video description. Up next on my most exciting new gear releases of the week is another leak from Fender. Way back in 2019, Fender released their Vintera series, vintage-inspired, made-in-Mexico versions of the most popular Fender guitars and basses. It replaced the Classic series. A few days ago, the Vintera guitars were listed as discounted on the Fender website, and this is always a good indication of a new line coming. Then, a music shop in Spain leaked images and details on their site, and then that was posted on Gearpage and Reddit, and now it's just a waiting game for the release date. In the new range, there are Tellys, there are Strats, there are Mustangs, there are Jazzmasters, there are Jaguars, there are basses, and a Bass 6, which could be the most fun instrument on the new list. Also, possibly the biggest news, because it's a leak, is that Pau Ferro fretboards seem to have been ditched and Rosewood is back. Great news for the purists. The leak prices were listed from €1,119 to €1,249 for everything except that tasty Bass 6, which is listed at €1,449. Now, I hope to get one or possibly two in the studio to check out and see how the new series stands up against the old ones. I would love to know which of these you find the most exciting. Let me know in the comments. Marshall are back to their roots with their new Studio JTM series. There are 4 products in this range: the JTM ST20H head, the JTM ST20C combo, a 1x12 cab, and a 2x12 cab. These are all handmade in the UK, and the amps can operate at either 20 watts or 5 watts. That's the studio version part of it. The new range is based on the JTM 45, Marshall's first ever amplifier. So tone-wise, think 60s UK. Pete Townsend, Eric Clapton, Jimi Hendrix. The Studio JTMs have a pair of ECC 83 valves in the preamp, and a pair of 5881 power tubes, and an ECC 83 phase splitter. The new range also has an effects loop, which the JTM 45 did not, meaning the new ones are not only lighter and smaller, but also more pedal friendly. Now, these are the first guitar amps released since Marshall were bought by the Swedish firm Sound Industries, and although this range most certainly began development before that sale, it's good to see that the new owner is still invested in Marshall making valve guitar amps, not just Bluetooth speakers. Judging from the demo video, the tone seems to be a lot smoother than the Marshall SV20, which I owned for a few years, but I found it to be just a little bit too trebly and bitey. The head is coming in at under £850 in the UK, the combo at under £1,000, and the 1x12 and 2x12 cabs coming in at £600 and £450 respectively. I was quite surprised by these prices because prices are generally raising everywhere, as we know, and I think that's still very accessible for a handmade but not hand-wired in England amp with that iconic look and that badge. Anyone with a bad back that is looking for an authentically 60s looking Marshall should be very happy. As for the tones, I'll try one as soon as I can, but so far, so good. It seems that Electro Harmonics are trying to compete with Fender for most products released in a year, and now they're here with the Pico Pog. This is a shrunken down version of the very popular polyphonic octave generator pedal with controls for dry, sub-octave, octave up, and now tone. The new tone knob controls one of 3 filters selectable by the filter mode button. This includes a high pass filter to tighten up that sub bass and increase clarity. I had a Pog 2 for a while, but it left my board in favor of the TC Electronic Sub and Up Mini due to the Pog 2 being simply too big. So Mike Matthews and his team have read my mind by coming out with this Pico pedal. There is a problem, however. Due to so many clone pedals, many of us are programmed to expect micro pedals to be cheap. This Pico Pog is coming in at $240, which is almost half the price of the Pog 2, but it's about the same price as the Nano Pog and the Micro Pog, and it's still quite a lot of money. The Pico, of course, has the new tone knob that the other cheaper Pogs don't have, but the Pico loses the ability to split the output for dry and wet. So if you intend to send low octave to a bass amp, then you can't do this with this new pedal. I think the tone knob and the small size may bring a Pog to many people's boards, but that price could still be too high for players that just want the occasional octave effect. I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Pick of the week. My pick of the week is from Fender. And no, it's not that new Tom DeLonge Strat that everyone, and I mean everyone, knew was coming. Fender. Even I have one right here that I'll be reviewing right now. Well, not right now, after this video, and I'll release that video in a couple of days. Stick around or subscribe for that. My pick of the week is a tiny, tiny little guitar. Well, 2 tiny little guitars. Fender have teamed up with Loog, the makers of guitars for children. There are 2 guitars in the Fender x Loog range so far, a black Strat and a green Telly, both aimed at children as young as 6. Both my kids have a Loog guitar, and this one belongs to my son, and it is a wonderful instrument. The special thing about these guitars is that they only have 3 strings. But these 3 strings are the top 3 strings from a regular 6-string. So this is tuned E, B, and G, meaning that when the child gets bigger, their transition to a regular 6-string guitar will be far easier than a transition from something like a ukulele. The neck and body is also much smaller than a standard guitar, making it far easier for kids to play these rather than something like a 3/4 size classical that seems to plague young players, and I personally think they are pretty much unplayable for most young people. They're not just for kids though. I often jam about on this, and it makes a great travel guitar before my son steals it back from me. And it is a real instrument with real pickups and real wood. This is not a toy. The guitars also come with a free app and flashcards, which my kids find really fun and have helped them learning a lot. The Fender x Loog guitars are coming in at $199, which I know can be a stretch for a kid's instrument, but if you have a child in your life that is serious about learning electric guitar, I've not found a better instrument than a Loog, and it is worth the investment. I've tried many cheap and small guitars. The Loog was the best, and it's the ones that I give to my kids. Also, the collaboration with Fender gives the instruments more marketing power and more respect, which should result in more young guitar players. And that can only be a good thing. I know this pick of the week won't appeal to everyone, but if you know a child that wants to begin playing guitar, Loog have my full recommendation, and these official strats and tellies just make them extra cool. Okay, that's it for this week. Thank you to Pedaltrain for sponsoring. More information about them in the video description. And if you enjoyed this and want to be kept up to date on all new guitar gear, go ahead and click there to subscribe. Let us all know what your pick of the week is in the comments section, and as always, full links, full information to all products mentioned in the video description. See you next time. Bye-bye.